Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Legislator Hathaway,
I'm here.
Legislator Burkler, Legislator Mosier,
Here.
Legislator Gilbert,
Here.
Legislator Sharpton,
Here.
Legislator Moorhan, Legislator Lovaker,
Here.
Legislator Osborne,
Here.
Legislator Nellenbach,
Yes.
and Legislator Dahlhoff.
Here. Would everyone please stand for the invitation and the pledge, and the Legislator Hathaway, please lead us in the invitation.
Father, as always, we appreciate the blessings you bestow upon us, known and unknown. We need them all, and we appreciate them all. And Lord, would you please think about those that need your helping and healing hand. Reach down and touch them. Give them strength and give them health. And Lord, would you please be with those that are caring for them, family, friends, caregivers, medical staff, and those people, county employees that come to work every day to help their fellow citizens. Please protect them, help them to do their good work, and let them know they're appreciated. And Lord, would you please help our country, help us to come together, help us to get back to where we started and where we still should be, one nation under God. Please guide us in that, Lord. We can't do it without you. And Lord, help us make good decisions for all the people of our county. Thank you, Lord. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
God bless you.
The February 7th board meeting minutes have been distributed, and if there are no amendments, they stand approved. Report of the Financial Rules Committee for Rule 6. Cassandra, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Finance and Rules Committee has met and they recommend to waive rules to act upon late resolutions.
Motion. Lisa. Second by Bill. Any discussion? All in favor? Anyone opposed? It carries. Public hearing. We have a public hearing, the request and recommendation of the Lewis County Agricultural and Farmland Protection Board for inclusion of the parcel located in the town of Lowell, tax map parcel number 212.00-01-16.128, owned by Grady Moore LLC. Is there anyone here that would like to comment on that public hearing? Continue to leave that open, and we'll move on to privilege of the floor. We have several people who would like privilege of the floor. We'll start with Michelle Ledoux from Cornell Cooperative.
Thank you. We have a very short video to show you. It's actually right behind you.
Maple Weekend is happening March 18th and 19th, 25th and 26th, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. each day. Taste the tradition that celebrates our state as the nation's second largest maple producer. We're honoring New York centuries-old tree tapping with historical tours and delicious samples at locations across the state. Go to mapleweekend.com to find out about participating farms near you and taste the tradition March 18th and 19th, 25th and 26th.
So this is a public service announcement that will be on Channel 7 News. We've also put it out on social media, and I've handed out to legislators and also have available. This is being paid for by the Lewis County maple producers and also St. Lawrence County maple producers who are part of Maple Weekend. So this will be coming up here on March 18th and 19th, 25th and 26th. And it's just an opportunity for individuals, families, couples to go to our sugar houses in actually it will be the 5-county area. This will also include Oneida County, but they are not in that TV coverage area. So we just wanted to give you the opportunity to see that and also know what's going on. The International Maple Museum in Crogan will be having a pancake breakfast all 4 days. And then this lists the local sugar houses for you to visit in Lewis County. We will be having a tree tapping, so you'll be getting an invitation to that, if you're able to come to that. And then also, Jefferson County will be putting out what's going on in Jefferson County, Oswego County, Oneida County, and St. Lawrence County also has a listing, as you can see, of sugar houses that are available. It's a great family event you can go to, dress for the weather, and you'll learn about the sugaring that's going on here in our county and other counties.
When's the tree tapping?
I believe we're going to do it the first Saturday, but I will be confirming that. It's sort of dependent. It usually works better with the budget season to do it the first weekend, but we're just waiting for the senator to get back to us. But you will definitely be getting that. Cassandra will know about it, and Ryan, and we'll be sending that to all of you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Michelle. Next up, we have Legislator Hathaway.
First off, I'd like to say that I saw a robin today at 2:21.
Spring is here.
Pardon me?
Spring is here.
Yeah. A couple of months ago, I was telling you about some students at Harrisville Central that had something sent to the moon, their experiment. And it came back, they've got it, and now they're looking at what happened to it and comparing it to on Earth surfaces. But it was kind of cool because the two sophomores, Elaine Levanchi and Haley Mahar, and the 8th grader, Ethan Levanchi, they all touched the test tube. So consequently, their DNA went to space, was in space, and came back from space. So I thought that was kind of interesting, and I just wanted to share that with you.
Awesome. Thank you, Phil. So we have a list here of people that have signed up to speak. We'll start with those. If there's anyone else here that would like to address the board, we can follow whoever that might be. So first up, we have Lori Ralston.
In order to get this in under 5 minutes, I'm going to have to speak quickly, so I hope that you can all understand me. My name is Lori Ralston, and my address is 5425 Stowe Street. My husband and I have been residents of Stowe Street for 23 years. I'm here to share concerns that we have with the proposed multi-million-dollar building at the top of our street, which will be used to house homeless people. My first concern centers on the target population of people with serious mental illnesses and substance abuse problems. Questions I have that I know will not be answered today are what will be done to ensure the safety and security of the immediate neighborhood, since this plan includes people with drug addiction, and not just the mild or easily treatable drug addiction, because if that was the case, I assume they probably would not be homeless. You are taking the people with the most serious cases of drug addiction. These are some statistics that I found online regarding the correlation between crime and drug addiction. The first is from the article from the National Association of Drug Court Professionals. 80% of crime offenders abuse drugs or alcohol. Nearly 50% of jail and prison inmates are clinically addicted. Approximately 60% of individuals arrested for most types of crime test positive for illicit drugs at the time of their arrest. Some more stats that I found from the Bureau of Justice Statistics are 17% of state prisoners and 18% of federal inmates stated committed their current offense to obtain money for drugs, with inmates being convicted of burglary having the highest rate of substance dependence abuse at 85%. I interpret that as 85% of people who are incarcerated for burglary have some level of substance abuse problems. While these statistics do not specify the exact crimes, it is clear that there is a much higher rate of crime, especially burglary, associated with people with drug addiction serious enough to land them in jail and or prison. We have elderly and older people in the neighborhood, some of whom live alone. We have families with young children. How can we have confidence that we will be protected from the expected increase in crime? How can we enjoy the properties we own and most of us have worked hard to fix up and continue to work hard to keep up, knowing that people with serious drug addiction are continually walking our streets day and night? This planned building will hurt the hardworking homeowners on and around Stowe Street the most, and the 24/7 on-site security will not help the surrounding community. A second concern is that we all know what this will do to our property values. Do we already have people with drug addiction and people with mental illness walking the streets of Louisville? We know that we do. However, this will take people from multiple areas around Lewis County and concentrate them at the top of the hill with one street being their only route in and out of the village. We all know our property values will plummet as most people would not want to move into the neighborhood, although I assume that our assessments and property taxes would not decline at all. My third concern centers on the effectiveness of this model, and again, I know that you cannot answer this, but I want to share this, and helping to support people with substance abuse and addiction problems, as well as the people with serious mental illnesses, and how this model will or will not help them. I would like to know what studies have been done or looked at to show that this model of housing multiple people with drug addiction and mental illness under the same roof is going to help them in any other way than putting a roof over their head. Through some research I have done and resources I have received, including from people who work in the areas of substance abuse and mental health treatment, I know that separating yourself from other people who are engaging in the same behavior or activity that you are addicted to is vital to beating that addiction. Addicts have to separate themselves from other addicts. How is housing multiple drug addicts together under one roof going to help them? Then you add in people with serious mental illness who are already a high-risk population, and do we just hope that they all get better? That the person with mental illness does not also become a drug addict? These people will somehow magically beat the national statistics that I've already shared, and that the increase in crime that is associated with drug addiction just naturally does not happen in the Stowe Street and the surrounding streets. Another fact that I found online that I think is important is that there is ample evidence that shows that persons with mental illness are far more likely to be the victims of violent crime rather than the perpetrators. And this is from the National Institutes of Health in 2022. So you will be housing people with serious mental illnesses who are a population of people shown to be at a higher risk of being the victims of crime, along with people with substance addiction and abuse problems who are shown to be at a likely risk of committing a crime together under one roof. And again, I ask, how is this going to be an effective approach? Or is this approach likely to create even more problems than it is intended to help with? My last concern is the multi-million-dollar price tag, knowing that there are much less expensive options. And I want to emphasize that we all know that regardless of the source of funding for the proposed project, be it from the county or the state level, this money is all taxpayer money, be it from property taxes, income taxes, or sales taxes. The bill from this land will be on all of us that pays taxes. And this is a perfect example of why New York State is one of the states with the highest state and local tax burden as rated by the Tax Foundation. And I have these noted as far as our resources. Even if this is determined to be an effective model of combating homelessness for this high population, I fully believe that it can be done for less money, as well as located in an area that will present much less risk of a threat to any neighboring community, not just ours. And I would like to ask all board members this, and I'm not saying this sarcastically at all. If this building was going up right next to your home, would your opinion about this project change? And you can honestly say that no, it would not, that I myself would offer to get my neighbors involved to start a GoFundMe account to raise money to buy a parcel of land near any of your homes so that this building can be relocated to your neighborhood and not ours. Thank you.
Next on the list, we have Betty Wilson.
I'm reading this letter for one of the neighbors. I'm addressing my concerns over the supportive housing project on Stowe Street. I am a widow living alone. I want to continue to be safe in my home. This will not be the case if this house is built a short distance from me. I don't want to live my life behind locked doors and not feel free and safe to work in my garden or sitting on my back or front porch in the evenings. I don't want to be scared at night when sleeping when there's a strange noise outside. We all know that the excessive cost will impact our taxes. Someone has to pay this loan or grant. Not to mention how this will impact the value of our homes when it is time to sell. I work at the ARC, which will be right next to the door to the building. This affects the safety of the staff and the people we support there. I work one evening a week until 8:30. I will be the only person leaving the building at this time. Very frightening after dark. Thank you.
Thank you.
Harry, would it make sense to talk a little more about the snow Belton station versus the county when it comes to this project and what the county really can and cannot do?
We can do that, but, let's move to the next guy first. Michael comment.
Thank you for the opportunity to address the board. I rise this evening. First off, Michael Comet, 5379 Stowe Street. I've lived there for 23 years, raised my family there, and now I've got to figure out how to pay for college. So I rise this evening to express my opinion, not my opposition, to selection of Outer Stowe Street for a facility to house and assist displaced peoples in this county. While I'm aware that Stowe Street may not be the final choice, I believe it would only be prudent to consider alternative locations for the facility. First, let's talk expenditures. We're all money people. The county currently owns Glenfield Elementary, a 44,000 square foot building on a 6.6 acre parcel of land with an operational cafeteria, gymnasium, office space, many individual rooms. It even comes with a playground. And soon it will be empty. Why will it be empty? Because we just took $15 million, ballpark, and fixed up an old building. Those offices will be moving back, okay? Additionally, the county has already paid GYMO $30,700, resolution 2301 in 2022 on December 6th, to study the feasibility and cost to create a facility in one of the three locations. Resolving homelessness stretches far beyond the presence of a physical structure. We are not going to get anything done if we just throw a building up. Erecting a new building to an estimated $13 million is not going to efficiently curtail the issue in this or any other county in this state or in this country. However, the people of Lewis County are wise enough to understand the saying, there is no free lunch. It would be foolhardy to believe that in some way the county residents will not ultimately be contributing to the cost of this endeavor. Even if a facility is constructed without county monies, the cost of utilities, repairs, maintenance, and operational costs must come from somewhere. It would have been really comforting to have the talking points that were passed out at the beginning so we can understand that a little bit better. It's also understood that given the nature of projects such as this, that the cost overruns and revisions that inevitably come with any construction will become real world. Who will cover those costs? In a recent news story on WWNY, Mr. Pichet said of Stowe Street, it's removed from the really residential core of the community, but it's walkable and still close to services. I can tell you, for someone who's lived there for 23 years, this is nothing could be further from the truth. The people of Stowe Street are indeed part of the residential core of the community. In fact, there are no businesses on the street. Someone tried to say Stewart's is on the street. Look up the address, it's South State Street. I have three main concerns. They mirror some of my neighbors, but some of them are quite independent of them as well. Increased traffic. I guarantee that any legislator that would like to come and try and back out of my driveway at 4:30 in the afternoon, once the village offices, or excuse me, county offices are back there, we'll see you at 4:45 and you can finally back out. It's merely, by the nature of its geography, a busy street. It's congested. Adding another facility is only going to compound that traffic concern. While there is also, as she mentioned, a potential for increased criminal activity, First and foremost, I think it's important that we all recognize that homelessness and criminal activity are not necessarily synonymous, and it would be insulting to imply otherwise. Just like no one location will provide total security, no location is immune to criminality. I am sure that your retort will be, it's next to the Lewis County Sheriff's Office, and therefore it will be more secure. Most of you are well aware that at any one point, there are 2 sheriff's deputies on patrol and 1 in the office. And on most occasions, there is only 2 state troopers. If we have an incident, whether it's at my house, whether it's at this facility, and someone's in Harrisville and the other person is in Lyons Falls, you're looking at maybe a 15 or 20-minute response time. However, we must also not be blind to the fact that proximity to the sheriff's office does not assure prevention and protection. Future expenditure is my third concern. The new facility is not timeless, nor is it immortal. Within a very short time, the cost of repairs, staffing, labor, and infrastructure will continue to rise. This will no doubt lead to an ever-increasing cost that will also become burdensome to the taxpayer when the funding, as it exists right now, dries up. The math is pretty simple. Please excuse if I'm a few dollars off. The county has already chosen to spend $315,000 for a building to temporarily house county offices, only to spend just over $15 million to retrofit an old building, then move back from the $315,000 building into the potential of a $13 million building. It's a perpetual black hole. Let's be honest. Will any of you tonight publicly state that you will vote for a location other than Stowe Street, or is it a foregone conclusion already? I hope I haven't wasted my breath. I hope you have this under consideration. Again, think of your home properties, think of the value of them, and think what this facility could do. Thank you.
I'm going to take the next person out of order so we stay on the same subject. Brian and Lori Woodrick.
You all know who I am. You see my butt out in the road all the time. I have a big flower garden across from that beautiful field that is deer come across, flowers, birds, everybody loves that. If you put that facility there, that will all be ruined. There won't be any nature there for people to enjoy, that run, walk. And I also have a concern about safety for the residents of this facility. There is heavy ag traffic, there's heavy from the building traffic, and just common people coming down the street using the cell phones, going up the street using the cell phones. They are not paying attention. They don't care. They don't care. And people walk across there all the time from the street, the sidewalk, they come across, they don't look. These people, their social community is in downtown Loudville. They visit the dollar stores, they visit the gas stations, they visit their local coffee shops. These people will be walking down and walking back up. Black, dark, early morning, who's to know? I just think that it's an unsafe situation for those people that are going to be housed there, because they will be coming and going up and down that very busy street. And that's all I have.
Thank you. So there is a fact sheet, I think, on the back table. If anyone is interested, please pick up one of those. There's some facts and comments here. We also have 2 representatives from Snowbelt Housing here, who is leading three, I'm sorry, Mike, who is taking the lead on this project. Galen, or would any of the three of you like to comment on this?
Yeah, sure. First of all, I appreciate everyone's comments. I kept looking online, I think I sent Dennis out looking too, because I really honestly want to know what your feedback is. I reached out to the town and village as well, and spoke with them and offered coming to any of their board meetings to have additional conversations. I know sometimes this format is a little formal, so if we want to go to, I think you offered the fire hall? Maybe fire hall, so we can sit down and have conversations more about, like, what our plans are. We are very early in the concept phase. We haven't submitted an application, solidified the location. We do have services lined up, not only partnership services that will be participating at the facility, but also a host of services that could be in the form of service agreements offered on site or satellite services so people can access them without leaving the facility. But I think the more feedback we get at this time, the better the program will represent what the town, village, county want. I do have some cards I can leave out back. You can feel free to call or email. I'm sure if we get something set up at the town or village, then we'll let everyone know as well.
Is this an interactive time or no? I've never been to a board meeting before.
I don't-
Just bringing that up,
Never mind.
you're seeking feedback at a later time. Is that you're setting up a meeting where?
I think it would make more sense at another time, so, but I'm willing to leave this out so you can call like tomorrow is early, or we can do it in a community setting.
Thank you. Next, we have Joe Kadlowski.
Hi, I'm Joe Godleski, 15369 Stove Street. I'm not here on that topic, but I am supporting the opposition of it being right up the road from my house. But I'm here to comment on the health insurance premium increase that everybody so loves. So I'm here tonight on behalf of CSEA employees to comment on the proposed 15% increase to our health insurance premiums. And as an employee, taxpayer, and union officer, very disappointed in the way our self-funded plan has been managed to the point where I can safely say it has been mismanaged. To the employees on the PPO family plan, this proposed increase will contribute 17.8% of their wages towards their health care during the median salary is $48,000. This increase will equate to 53 cents per hour decrease in the employee's base salary. CSEA addressed premium holidays when they first introduced. We asked why the premiums were not decreased instead of doing holidays. We were told that they wanted to let healthcare costs catch up to what we were paying premiums, which made sense at the time. The second round of holidays, we once again went and talked to Ryan, where we were told that the holidays were because of the hospital expansion. He even provided us a financial statement from the hospital explaining how much these holidays would help their situation. Would help to the sum of them saving over $700,000 each time a premium holiday occurred. We know the hospital is seeking to get bonded for new addition and need to show adequate cash flow to be granted for these bonds. It was eventually enhanced when the hospital scheduled 2 holidays, 2022, and the county only 1. Now you think it would have been right to give 2 holidays to the hospital and just 1 to the county? The answer to that question is no, because this health plan is for all employees. There should be no favoritism towards one entity. But this needs to be done to get the hospital the savings they needed to complete their ambitions. The second holiday, however, ended up not going through because the fund had already been starved to the point where they wouldn't survive if they did. So using premium holidays, our fund has been starved to the point, once again, that we, the employees and taxpayers, must pick up the bill for the mismanagement. In the spring of 2021, a group of CSE officers sat in Ryan's office pleading not to follow through with the holidays because we knew that employees had postponed their elective surgeries due to COVID. We knew that we needed to keep building the fund because eventually we'd see high claims come in all at once. And that time is here. My final thought on the holidays is I don't think employees should have to jeopardize their health care, so funds can be used elsewhere. The next topic I'd like to address is that our health insurance committee, that includes the county, CSEA, SELUS, GKG. We as CSEA has brought plan design changes to the committee time and time again, with little response from the county. And we propose setting up a healthcare plan like the village of Loudville. Their plan is through SELUS, just as ours. Employee benefits and Watertown takes care of their plan. This plan is a fully funded, high deductible plan. It is a great plan and great incentive for wellness. If you don't use the HSA contributions, you get to keep them. A lot better incentive is a way to be healthy. And as Ryan likes to say, we have a very unhealthy population enrolled in our plan, and this will help mitigate that problem. It's paired with an employer-owned HRA, the employees feel comfortable enough to migrate to the high deductible plan. This idea would would mean we no longer be a self-funded plan. And we feel that you guys might not like that because it will take away the flexibility. If we get a holiday, then we don't have a holiday, or if we have a holiday, then it seems to be we can reappropriate that money elsewhere. That's how we feel. And the only flexibility that it takes away the flexibility in my eyes if the county and hospital would no longer have a bailout and they deem it necessary. CSEA has no control over these holidays, but we do have bargaining rights to plan design. This plan design will work if we give it a chance. And recently, Ryan visited CSEA members at DSS and explained reasons for the increase. You can imagine it was not received well. We have gotten a lot of feedback. When I asked questions about how we expected employees to make ends meet, given this increase, his response to them is saying that they need to buy used cars, higher miles, flip coupons from the newspaper. Are your employees supposed to make a decent living without paying out the nose for health care? Furthermore, people used to come work here with the expectations of lower pay and excellent benefits. It's no longer the case anymore. So on behalf of all CSEA members, the taxpayers of this county deserve to have knowledgeable, hardworking people employed by them. We're calling on you guys to help fix our health care. Thank you.
So I'd offer a couple comments for those that are not in the loop on this. He's referring to 2 holidays that we gave, that we didn't charge the employees or the hospital or the county, because at that point, this was before COVID, the health insurance fund shot through the $4 million target and was headed for $7 million. So we gave 2 holidays so that to try to bring that back down, because this is a self-insured fund. And once you put the money in, that's the only thing it can be used for. And that's the only thing this fund does is we have to generate enough revenue to cover the expenses that are going out. So we did the 2 holidays. COVID came to an end, and all of a sudden, everyone that's been putting off elective surgery for 2 years went and had it done. It drove the fund balance from $7 million to $1.5 million in about 4 months. So there was no choice, but we had to increase the revenues going in the fund to bring it back up to a sustainable level. This is a old indemnity Cadillac, golden Cadillac plan, with no deductibles, no co-pays, and pretty much all inclusive for whatever you need to have done. It's covered. The employees pay 25%, the hospital and the county, being the taxpayers, pay 75%. The cost of a family plan on this plan is $30,000 a year. So the employees are basically paying $7,000, And the taxpayers of this county are paying $23,000 for that coverage. So, we don't like to raise the rates any more than the employees like to see the rates go up, but we have no choice. And it costs us, the county, the taxpayers, and the hospital, 75% of that increase versus the 25% of the employees. And I understand that employees, you look at what you end up with in your paycheck, it's another deduction. But you have options. You don't have to stay on that all-inclusive plan. So that's some of the other side of the story. Anyone else have any comments for throw to the floor? Yes, ma'am. Please state your name and your address for the record.
My name is Jamie Lloyd. I live on 9625 Willow Street in Beaver Falls, and I'm piggybacking off the health insurance issue. I'm here this evening to try and get some sort of answer to a question I've asked multiple people, and they seem to not be able to give me an answer about why. I'm wondering why there hasn't been a maternity department designated as a temporary replacement for the health since they shut it down at Lewis County General. Because there is no designated maternity department, you're forcing the employees to give birth to automatically pay more for something that they shouldn't have to pay more for. Because we are working for the county, mostly for me, it was for the health insurance. And I had a child a couple months ago and I automatically had to now pay more because we don't have a maternity department and one has not been designated. So I would like to know why.
We don't run the hospital. It has its own board. And I will say that the hospital has been trying very hard, desperately, to replace that maternity board, and they have not been able to find staff to do that.
Which I understand, but why hasn't there been a temporary replacement been put in place? Well, we have no access to a maternity department in our health insurance.
I don't have the answer to that. This is not supposed to be interactive, but Mike, would you?
I just figured I'd bring it up.
It's just not our board, that's why we're questioning.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know where to go and I couldn't get answers,
Of
so
course, yeah.
I figured I'd bring it up here and then,
Our
If I
board
could be-
meets the last Wednesday of the month, you're more than welcome to come in
okay,
and address us.
okay. And I didn't know because it was a health insurance thing.
Anyone else like privilege of the floor?
Mr. Chairman, I'm gonna have to leave in about 5 minutes, so I don't know if I'll get another chance. I just want to briefly, if I could, and no, I don't want to take from any time if any other members of the public want to speak, but just on the insurance question, I think it's important for us as a board that we're not just deferring this as a matter that was decided at the administrative level to do those holidays with the insurance premiums. This was a decision that we made as a board and we approved as a board. We are responsible for the fact that fund balance fell down to where it is today. And for my part, I'm willing to assume responsibility and state that I think it was regrettable that we did do the holiday. Obviously, there were factors that went into it that we had no control over, but certainly we should have predicted that there would have been an increase in claims coming out of COVID. But for my part, I do want to just acknowledge the comments that have been shared from the public and put that on the record, at least where I come down on it. But at the same time, it is in the past at this point, and I do consider this increase to be necessary now. But that's on us.
The holidays, if we hadn't done the holidays, we would be in the same predicament that we are now with this. It would have just been next year instead of this year. So
It could have impacted the percentage that we put in, but I mean, dollars for dollars, it's the same thing at the end of the day, but I can understand for a family trying to do its budget, a 15% increase is pretty substantial.
I agree, it's shocking. Anyone else like privilege of the floor? Would anyone like to comment on the public hearing for the piece of land that would like to be included in the farmland agricultural part of it? If not, we'll close that public hearing at this point and then move on to the clerk of the board report. Sandra, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Cattaraugus County submitted an adopted resolution opposing changes in REM foreclosure. Essex County submitted an adopted resolution requesting the Public Service Commission to hold Verizon Wireless accountable for charging for services they are not providing. Franklin County submitted an adopted resolution calling on the state of New York to continue to pass through federal Affordable Care Act enhanced federal Medicaid assistance percentage funds. Greene County submitted an adopted resolution opposing Governor Hochul's ban of gas stoves and other new fossil fuel heating equipment. Madison County submitted 3 adopted resolutions. The first is calling on the governor to complete Affordable Care Act enhanced federal Medicaid assistance percentage reconciliations that are years overdue and immediately release the funds owed to counties and New York City. The second is opposing Governor Hochul's ban of gas stoves and other new fossil fuel heating equipment. The last is calling on the state of New York to continue to pass through federal Affordable Care Act enhanced federal Medicaid assistance percentage funds. Orleans County submitted 3 resolutions. The first is calling on the state of New York to continue to pass through federal Affordable Care Act enhanced federal Medicaid assistance percentage funds. The second is calling on the governor of New York State to remove the 2024 executive budget part M of the Article 7 revenue bills. The last is opposing Governor Hochul's ban of gas stoves and other new fossil fuel heating equipment. Schoharie County submitted an adopted resolution calling on the state of New York to continue to pass through federal Affordable Care Act enhanced federal Medicaid assistance percentage funds. St. Lawrence County submitted an adopted resolution calling upon the New York State Public Service Commission to grant the application for Re-Energy Holdings LLC for designation of a biomass facility at Fort Drum Military Installation as a renewable energy source. Tioga County submitted an adopted resolution calling on the state of New York to continue to pass through federal Affordable Care Act enhanced federal Medicaid assistance percentage funds. Mr. Kevin Kapfer submitted an email voicing his concern with opening certain county roads for a special event, feeling like there are no closed roads to ATV or UTV traffic. He voiced his displeasure with having 0 traffic laws enforced for recreational vehicles by county law enforcement agencies, citing speed as an issue. Weights and Measures Director Brian Mooney submitted the January 2023 field service reports, which have been placed on file, and the following departments have submitted their 2022 annual report: Lewis County Drug Task Force, Social Services, and Community Services. That concludes my report.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, to piggyback on what Cassandra just pointed out, Legislator Leviker and I were updated on the Section N of the RPTL that she just referenced. Our town supervisors, so Terry Tiss and Scott Doyle, contacted us, and there's legislation pending that would really negatively affect the green counties, which Lewis County would be one of those because of the solar project. And there's potential litigation that could be coming that some of the, probably all of the town supervisors in Lewis County think that they should join in on. And they were looking for the county's support. What they're thinking right now is there's a firm called Lewis and Greer that is quoting about $30,000 to represent individual entities in New York State to contest this legislation. The county itself would not be a party to it. It would have to be the individual municipalities. But they're thinking if they can get 30 counties essentially on board, it would basically be $1,000 a county. So we wanted to bring that to everyone's attention, something to think about if that does come to fruition.
Are you looking to make a motion tonight, or do you want to refer this to the committee meetings?
Probably committee
Probably
meetings.
committee
We
meetings.
just got called this afternoon on this, so.
I received a phone call traveling here, and it's, there was just a discussion prior to the meeting.
Okay.
We just wanted to make sure everyone was aware of it. She did just reference it, but it would piggyback on that.
I would suggest we move that to the Finance and Rules Committee at the March committee meeting. Okay, moving on to standing committee reports. Tom, will you start us off with financial rules, please?
Now, I thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have nothing to report at this time.
Any questions for Tom? If not, we'll move on to general services with Ian.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have one motion this evening. I move to award bids for sand, gravel, and concrete based on project location in accordance with the tabulation of all bids prepared by the highway superintendent and placed on file with the clerk of the board for the period of April 1, 2023 through March 31, 2024.
Moved by Ian, second by Phil. Any discussion? All in favor? Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have nothing else to report. I would ask that I be excused for the remainder.
You may.
Thank you.
Moving on to Health and Human Services Committee. Lisa, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have nothing to report tonight.
Any questions for Lisa? Andrea?
I just have a comment that, I would like to remind the legislators to save the dates from March 20th to the 24th, as it is Dine Out Week with our seniors at the meal sites. And I would like to invite each legislator to participate if possible.
Thank you.
Hey, you invited me.
What day are you going?
I'm going the 22nd.
Oh, I gotta go the 21st.
Yeah.
Oh, the difference, like that. You're good.
Okay. Moving on to the board rep on hospital board. Dick Chartran, please.
Nothing at this time, Charlie.
Any questions for Dick? If not, we'll move on to Jimmy Nick Garrido with our project manager report.
Again, I'd like to thank the legislators and the manager for the opportunity to report on the capital project. We ran into a little bit of a hiccup with the air handling unit at DSS. At the time of the bid, the industry lead time was between 6 and 8 months. We felt pretty comfortable. We were working with the contractor, and we just recently found out that it's going to be shipped on May 5th or May 4th. That's a ship date. So we're kind of switching gears. You know, I've been reporting to the board that the issue was electrical panels. There's a possibility we may have electrical panels before we have an air handling unit. But we're monitoring that, working closely with our HVAC contractor on that. So that project is running a little behind. I worked and had projects involved all over the state. We're in better shape than most other projects that I'm seeing. So even though we're running a little behind, we're not running months and months and months behind, which creates problems. So that's where we are with the DSS. While we're on the topic of DSS, we had the opportunity with Andrea, a firsthand tour of the facility. And she had the opportunity to meet a bunch of local workers from Lewis County. And I asked them, any of the board members like a one-on-one tour, give you the opportunity to actually meet some of the Lewis County residents that are working on the project. I think that went real well.
I do too, thank you.
Over at DMV project, we're running a little behind in that project as well. We got a pretty aggressive schedule to start with. One of the things I'd like to comment on that is anytime you renovate an existing facility, tensions are a little high. Just inherently, things are happening. The staff that's working down there is very cooperative. They've communicated with us when there's an issue. Instead of just complaining, they let us know. We've dealt with topics with the contractors and moving forward. So that's, very happy with that particular project as well. And we just recently worked through the issues with DOT. That campus is running around 2 to 3 weeks behind schedule. We just updated the master project schedule. We printed a copy for Ryan. It's in his office. But we are definitely monitoring the project and the job. And we'll continue to report to the board to let you know where you're at. We're not going to show up and last minute tell you you're behind. Continue to keep everyone informed before we're at. Nicholas will give you some of the details of what's happening at specific sites.
I'll start down at the highway garage site. The Premier Metal Building, the new highway facility direction is continuing, moving right along. Siding and roofing should be starting soon now. Siding's actually started this week. Cold storage building, interior, you may not be able to see it from the outside, but interior wise, a lot of roughing has been done. There, lights are all in, sprinkler system's all done, and overhead doors are all in. Same thing at the cold storage building, nothing on the outside is being done, but on the interior, mechanicals, electrical has been almost all roughed in on the inside there. Basically, the exterior for both of those buildings is weather dependent, and looks like the springs will be here at some point, and the exterior will be going on down there. And then same with site work. Site work as the weather turns, the site work around that entire campus will be starting. Moving over to the DMV site, the trusses are up. The building it's framed up on the interior. Interior rough-ins for plumbing, mechanical, electrical have started and are ongoing. The building's moving right along on the interior now that the building is dried in. And up at DSS, that site, the interior carpet and paint ceilings are going in. Furniture has arrived up there. Furniture will start being assembled in offices this week. And that building is going to, by the end of the month, be in very good shape, minus the rooftop unit that has crept up and became a longer lead item than we anticipated. But panels we're being told before the end of the month, cross my fingers that date stays, but that DSS building is in very, very good shape.
And I'd also like to add on the DSS building, my experience, the county's in the air for a very high quality product up there. You know, and contractors, a lot of them are Lewis County people, and they're calling it their building, you know, which there's a lot of pride in that. And that's why, again, I want to, reach out if any of the legislators want a tour. We'll go out of our way to introduce you to the local people that are working there. And I think that also goes a long way. They see that the legislators care. I think that's one of the things I'm seeing with this particular client that I haven't seen in the past with other clients is the board cares. They show up to progress meetings, they walk the job, and that definitely brings a positive attitude toward the workers and resolve the county benefits.
How'd the meeting go with the DOT?
Good. It was a short, positive meeting. We can basically start once we give them our schedule, and Betty and Frank provided a schedule to the DOT. So just basically let them know when we're ready to go, and we can start.
So we have a plan forward with
Yes.
the new entrance?
Yep.
That's pretty much behind us now. Now we've had a formal meeting with the DOT. That meeting was more of a make sure everyone's on the same page type of meeting. In respect to the work which they had.
It didn't take long, did it?
What a year.
About a year?
But that's behind us now. I'll look in the rearview mirror.
In the rearview mirror, there you go.
Well, again, thank you very much for the opportunity to report.
Thank you, Nick, Jim. And with that, we'll move on to the county manager report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. 3 things. To begin, I had the privilege to spend a couple days last week in Albany at the annual legislative conference for the Association of Counties. As you heard today, when Cassandra was kind of reading out the activities of our fellow counties across the state, there are several challenges in the proposed budget and several challenges that rural communities in New York are facing during this legislative session. So it's good to be down there. It's good to spend time with elected officials, not just our elected officials, but others from other parts of the state. I had a chance to meet one-on-one with some folks regarding the ATV issue and the weight limit. We had opportunity to advocate directly to high-level state officials regarding the Medicaid expenditure that the state is trying to pass along to county taxpayers, along with the green energy assessment issue, which is quite large for rural parts of the state, and we'll have more conversation about that at Finance and Rules next month. The second thing I want to touch on is just a reminder. I think all of us here, at the county understand, but maybe we don't say it enough. We don't talk about it enough, but the county's finances are in great shape, okay? We have annual audits every year where we have internal controls that are appropriate. We have a fund balance today that is much higher than when I started, even 6 years ago. We have a A+ credit rating. The debt load that we're carrying, even with these new projects, is minuscule compared to our total revenue and operations. So, I think we need to be a little bit prouder about that in the community because we can accomplish big things. We can invest in our facilities, which we need to do on a regular basis, not once every 100 years. And we can do that in a way that also keeps our finances in check and makes us, good stewards of taxpayer dollars, which I believe we're doing. So I just want to feel the need to put that out there because there seems to be some discussion in the community that that's not the case. The second thing is just briefly on the health insurance. Hindsight is not the same as mismanagement. In the moment when we were managing that fund, I stand by all the decisions that we made. In hindsight, it's easy to look back and say what should have been done. I understand that. But I think, we've been very transparent about our health insurance fund. The presentation information that we've given out to the public and to our employees is about as transparent on a kind of internal issue that you're going to see. I mean, that we've really gone in depth on that issue. And, as, we kind of heard tonight, there was pressure from the union to decrease rates. Well, quite frankly, 1 month of holiday would not have done nearly the amount of damage to the fund balance than decreasing rates for 12 months. So, it's easy to have revisionist history. It's easy to look, with the benefit of hindsight. But, I think we've been very transparent all along. So that would be my report, unless you have any questions.
I have a question. Why are there not more votes, like the Rails for Trails should have been put up for a community vote in November? Why do we not do more of that when we have something big like that that's multi across the community? I mean, why was the Rails for Trails not put up for a vote, a community vote in November?
Well,
Why do you get to decide these things?
That's how democracy works.
I don't know how to answer the question, to be honest with you. We had several public informational meetings on that. There's a lot of history that goes on with that topic through a couple of surveys done on the residents, and over, I think, close to 80% of the population supported Rails to Trails initiative in Lewis County. So if you'd like to discuss it in, further with a few of us, we can do that, but it's really not appropriate to do it here tonight. So, Dick, you had a question?
Yeah, I was wondering how the weight limit on the UTV discussion went.
It's interesting. We definitely have a strategy that we're trying to put forward in Albany to focus exclusively on the weight limit issue. There's been bills almost every year over the last decade that really address the whole entire issue. The trail, you know, there's 10 things that the state is behind on this issue. There's still a temptation, I think, among some of our elected officials in the region to try to go for the full Monty, even though that hasn't worked time and time again. So my advocacy was trying to get everybody on the same page on one issue, understanding that there might be subsequent bills in the future that need to address, you know, more aspects of it. But let's just try to get some progress on the weight issue instead of, you know, putting forward an entire comprehensive bill that on the surface makes the constituents happy, but has no chance of actually passing, right? So we want to actually pass something.
So there's still an ongoing conversation about it.
There's still, yes. Yep. Well, we don't have any Democratic representatives in Albany. In order to move a bill, you have to have a Democrat sponsor. So it's not just as simple as convincing our representatives. We have to convince people outside of our region, right? So that's where it gets complicated.
Ms. Woodrick, I don't mean to shut you down. If you would like to have a conversation, please call the office and we'll settle it out. With that, we'll move on to Treasurer's report. Eric, please.
Thank you. I think I might come back to health insurance one more time also, which is a couple of thoughts on my mind. I don't exactly remember Ian's comment, but I think it touches a little bit what he was thinking. The holidays, again, I have not done the actual present value calculation, but I'm pretty confident that money in people's pocket when we gave them the holiday is better than money today. So people came out ahead by having that lower cost then than if we would have raised their rates back then. That's one comment. I think the other thought is that there was some comment about, you know, COVID and the blip of surgeries. That definitely was an impact, but across the country, inflation has had a significant impact on health insurance costs. I don't have the statistic in front of me about what it's been, but I think our consultants would probably tell us it's in the 10 to 20% range over the last year or two. That has driven our costs on a monthly basis significantly. So that's not going to change. I mean, until inflation goes down, is that going to happen? So that's not going to change. We have to keep up with the rising costs of inflation. So just a couple of thoughts on that topic. You have my written report. Really nothing I would highlight there, just general comments. Sales tax payments for 2023 are starting to come in, and the trend for those being higher than what we've seen in the past is continued, so that's great news. Just a procedural thing on our end, our auditors start their annual audit work in about 3 weeks, so we're getting final things ready for that and look forward to that process. Also, since I put this written report together, we haven't talked about the IGT much, but I'll try and give you a little presentation on that in maybe at the next committee meeting. The IGT are federal funding streams that come to our hospital, and I think the state processes those funding streams and they're just catching up. In the last 4 days, I've had 2 requests to process the IGT payments, which is money that the county has to pay in order for the hospital to get federal funds. It's an interesting situation, and I'll try and give you some more information at a future meeting. But that's going to be significant dollars out of our pocket, more than what we had budgeted for 2023. Good news on the hospital side, they're going to get the funds in the door. As I said, I think the state's just catching up. They're going back to 2020, I believe, and processing IGT payments. It's an interesting way they have of working that system and when they make their payments. We have not paid the hospital portion of the IGT in probably about 3 years. So unfortunately, they caught up this week, and the amount we have to pay them is due in a week, and it's not a small amount of money. So interesting how New York State works. So I will give you some more information about that at another time, if we have a little bit more time.
Is the amount more than budgeted significant?
Let me check my notes. Yeah, 1.2 million more than budgeted
That's
for
significant.
2023.
But remember, Bill, we had budgeted money the last 3 years that we didn't pay out.
Right,
So
yes.
with the IGT, it's like riding a wave.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so we have money in the bank, we have fund balance because we've been below budget for 2 or 3 years in a row. And now we're catching up. We're gonna spend some of that money we didn't spend a few years ago.
Thanks.
Thank you, Eric. Report of the Finance and Rules Committee for Rule 7, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Finance and Rules Committee reports that they have examined the claims presented for payment in the total amount of $5,065,296.09 and recommend that they be audited and allowed for the amounts claimed.
Need a motion? Andrea, second by Lisa. Any discussion? All in favor? Anyone opposed? Carries. Okay, on to resolutions. We are withdrawing number 50, and we are pulling 31, 57, 60, 60 and 61. Our later resolution will be voting on separately. Are there any additional resolutions that anyone would like to vote on separately?
I don't need anything else pulled, but I do have a couple conflicts. I have to recuse myself from resolution 47. I have to recuse myself due to a professional conflict. And then in reference to resolution 31, I have to recuse myself on the payment to myself as the assigned council administrator with my contract with the county. And then there's a few payments to attorney Brian Earhart and John Paulette that I had approved based on vouchers.
Okay. Duly noted. Any other resolutions, Andrea?
I would like to recuse myself from resolution number 35.
Okay. Okay, motion for the slate of consent resolutions. Lisa, second by Dick. Any discussion? All in favor? Anyone opposed? And I think we're, let's see, 47 is in that packet, so show Jessica recusing herself from 47 and Andrea on 35. With that, we'll move on to resolution 31.
Resolution number 31 is auditing and allowing claims in the amount of $5,065,296.09.
Moved by Lisa, second by Josh. Any discussion? This is roll call.
Legislator Osborne.
Yes.
Legislator Hathaway.
Yes.
Legislator Nellenbach.
Yes.
Legislator Leviker.
Yes.
Legislator Berkler.
Yes.
Legislator Mosier.
Yes.
Legislator Morahan.
Yes.
Legislator Gilbert. Oh, I'm sorry. Legislator Chartran.
Yes.
And Legislator Galva.
Yes. Jessica, did you mean to recuse yourself on that one? That's 31.
I have that noted. but-
There were only a couple payments I had to recuse
Okay.
myself on.
The next one is resolution number 57, resolution calling on Governor Hochul to remove Part M of Article 7 revenue bills from the 2024 executive budget.
Moved by Jessica, second by Jess. Any discussion?
Yes.
Bill?
Having familiarity with that process, I feel like when somebody is losing their home, what little bit of money left over might help them get reestablished, be it $1,000, be it $2,500. And we don't really budget all that much for tax sale gain. It's only, we budget 100 grand for that. And I'm thinking that if in fact it was 100 grand, which it usually isn't, but whatever it is, might help our citizens that have come on hard times and lost their homes. Just a thought.
Can I just say a word on that? So
It's usually Jerry that disagrees.
I'm not disagreeing at all, just adding that the reason the State Association of Counties has tagged this issue, I think if you polled county elected officials across the state, they might feel similar to you, Bill. The problem is, the only way to clear a title in New York State is through the foreclosure process and the county foreclosure process. By messing with that, which is what this legislation intends to do, all the property cleanup that we're trying to do in our region, St. Lawrence County, Jefferson County, us, that becomes a lot more difficult. And the treasurer's office and real property tax offices are put in an awkward position of having to attempt to chase down every lien that might be on that property. And then not knowing if they've done that successfully or not. So it's that element, I think, that is tripping people up with this proposed legislation is, what responsibilities are being put on the county, additional responsibilities, and then how would a title ever become clean? I mean, we already have zombie properties in, northern New York. Really now counties would have no incentive to touch these properties. And so what happens to those neighborhoods? What happens to, our ability to clean things up? So that's kind of the fear, I think.
Well, thank you.
There'd also be a new aspect in reviewing title, not only the lien holders, but then you would have to basically locate the former property owner. And with this, a lot of these are states, so it could get really tricky on that end, just from a legal review type of standpoint.
And could I just add on to that as well, that from the county departments that work on the foreclosures, there's no way for them, if they want to get to a bottom line, after all costs and liens have been paid off, there's numerous hours by numerous departments that work through the whole foreclosure process from year 1 through year 3 until the auction. And there's no way for the county to recoup all the expenses involved in trying to, foreclose on the property.
We budget them. We have a budget for those expenses as a revenue.
Well, but except that employees' compensation and costs and time devoted to foreclosures is never covered under that. And now we're gonna have additional time that they're gonna have to spend to try to locate those estates, locate other lien holders, judgment holders, and how do we pay back a portion of those liens and judgments that might be out there? That's a whole nother proceeding that's gonna have to go before some court, like in a mortgage foreclosure. So most of the counties feel that this just was not thought through. It was, once again, just rushed and put in as a law, and it's gonna be a nightmare for enforcement, especially on the county level.
So it sounded good, but.
Yeah, if there was some way to get to the bottom line and make sure that all the lien holders are taken care of, then, and if there was any excess, that's one thing, but that this executive law is not addressing that. That's the problem.
So noted.
And Larry didn't have to say anything negative.
No, he was nodding his head.
I was with you 100%.
Yeah, right.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Yeah. Just
No
cause.
opposed? And the resolution carries.
Just cause.
Resolution number 60, authorizing opening of certain portions of county roads for ATV special event.
Moved by second by Lisa. Any discussion? All in favor? Anyone opposed? Carries.
Resolution number 61 is a resolution authorizing amendment to grant contract with New York State Office of Indigent Legal Services under the 5-year statewide expansion of Pearl Herring to accept budget and work plan for year 5 funding,
Moved by Lisa and seconded by Andrea. Any discussion? All in favor? Anyone opposed? Carries. That is the end of the resolutions. Is there any other business that needs to come before the board? We don't need an executive session.
Yeah.
Motion to adjourn. Nick, Lisa, all in favor? Anyone opposed? Matters. They are adjourned.